All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Beams and Columns. I'm Jim Rogers. I have my co-host here, Shaun Bryant. Welcome,
Hello.
Shaun.
Hey, how you doing? I apologize for the very weird background. I'm using a virtual background for the first time with this app that we use, and you can kind of see the weird wallpaper behind me when I move my
It's
head. So if it looks like I'm phasing in and out of some different time zone or some time particle quantum thing, just that's fine.
it's,
Hi
it's a
everybody.
time warp. It's a time warp thing.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. But yeah, good to be back, and we've got a rather fantastic guest this week. She's a very good friend of mine as well, and we'll tell you a funny story about Ricky Gervais in a little while as well, which we had a laugh about a few years ago at Oxford University. But we have Janice Miller-Kellerman with us, who is basically the glue that holds Autodesk University together. So if you want to bring Janice in, Jim, that'd be great.
Yeah, and we're both speakers this year at
Well, yeah.
AU. I was not a speaker last year. I took the year off, but we're both back, so we'll be at Autodesk for the week. And let's bring Janice on. Hello,
Hello.
Janice.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. Hi, Jim. Hi, Shaun. You flatter me with the glue that holds AU
Oh,
together.
you
It
are. You are. You
takes
are. I
an
mean,
army, my friends. It takes an
oh
army.
yeah.
I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
I'll let you into a secret, Jim. If you want to get into the good books of the AU speaker team at Autodesk University, it's called Chocolate. Just so you know. I always
All
bring
right.
English chocolate over,
I,
so I'll grab it at
all right,
the
well,
airport and bring it over.
you're too late now. I wanted, I wanted one more speaking engagement. It's too late. If I knew the secret was chocolate, I would have that would have been easy.
Very specific. Dark. You got to go 80% or higher, my friends.
Okay.
Very
I
true.
got it.
Very true.
I got it.
So we've got Janice here now. Now the reason we've got Janice here is obviously AU isn't far away. It's in November. It's back in Vegas, as Jim quite rightly
Yeah,
said.
let's see.
We're both speaking at AU this year as well, and I wanted to get Janice on to talk about AU because a lot of people, I'll be talking to somebody who's not in the industry, and I'll go, "Oh, I'm speaking at Autodesk University this year," and they go, I think they kind of think I'm some sort of professor or something because the word university is in the title. But for me, Autodesk University, I've been speaking there since 2006, it's a standard event for me every year. But more importantly, it's an event I really look forward to because it's one of those events that it's not just work, it's fun. And I don't mean that because it's in Vegas and you can go and do all the Vegas things. It's fun because you're meeting up with all the people you know. You're going to classes where you're learning more. And I wanted to bring Janice on because Janice is so closely involved with all of this. She basically makes sure that us speakers do as we're told while we're at AU. And so Janice, just a bit of background here. How long have you been at Autodesk now?
So Autodesk itself, so total, it would be 14 years, and that's with 2 tours at Autodesk. So I started in 2007, and then I stepped away for about 2 years to go pursue some nonprofit work with actually the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation, which is VEX Robotics, which is an Autodesk education partner where I met them. And then I came back in 2018 to join the AU team. And the reason I came back is, I mean, Autodesk, just the culture of Autodesk is absolutely amazing. They're very much into diversity, equity, inclusion, actually caring for your employees, like all of that. So that was one of the reasons I came back. But I think the biggest reason was because I got wind of this position that was on the AU team. And in 2010, actually, some of your listeners may have been there. I'm sure Shaun and Jimmy might have been too. In 2010, there was a campaign called The Power of the Possible for AU that year. And a couple employees had done a photo shoot just for what we thought were going to be, promos or the little standees or brochures or whatever. And all of a sudden in 2010, I think it was Monday, was the start of AU. And my phone started lighting up, and there were a million people saying, "Hey, you didn't tell us about this," and I didn't know about this. There was a 30-foot Janosaurus welcoming attendees to the exhibit hall. It's literally me. I'm like back to back with this cool machine, and it says, "The power of the possible. Welcome to the exhibit hall." And I could not, I thought I was
Remember
going
it
to
well.
be in a brochure. And so the big joke was Attack of the 30-foot Janus, attack, the Janzilla, Janosaurus. That joke will never leave. But why I love it is, I think the reason I got this job, I could prove by showing the picture, I'm actually woven into the fabric of AU. Like there's the proof, 2010.
Yep.
So I just,
and another one of my colleagues, who, funnily enough, is also now a LinkedIn author, is Linda Sharkey. Was also another one that was on one of those posters.
yes.
I remember getting the text message going, "Have you seen that insanely large poster of me?" And I was like, "Where? So I had to get a picture of it. So
they were everywhere. There were several of us were featured. That's so funny that she was as well. And lots of photo opportunities there. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Well,
It's weird actually, because Linda and Kevin, her husband, now live in Spain. And they retired from Autodesk some time back, and they run a motorcycle hire business now. That's it. And they chill out in the south of Spain. And we've been out there a couple of times to stay with them, and it's blissful. But Linda and Kevin I've known for, wow, must be approaching 20 years now. So I've known them a long time. But yeah, that was definitely an interesting AU as well. That was one of the ones for me where, back in the day, I was one of I think there was a handful of us that were consultants on a particular product called FM Desktop way back when.
Wow.
And I was brought in purely in AU 2006 for that reason, because I was working on FM Desktop. But in 2010, FM Desktop was just starting to take off. It's a discontinued product now. It doesn't exist anymore now. But yeah, and it was my first real experience at AU where I was kind of teaching people how to change their businesses using the software, and move along now to where we are now, 2023, with how Autodesk have changed dramatically. And we've now got this lovely bit of marketing, the Design and Make conference. And that's literally it. You design stuff and you make stuff. And Autodesk are probably the biggest company in the world to do that. So for 2010, I mean, I know Janice jokes about her, giant Janice poster, but for me, 2010 was where AU really gelled for me as well. It was the one AU where I realized what AU was all about, and the little light bulb went on. And I've been kind of going ever since. I got married at AU, by the way, in 2008 too, just in case anybody isn't aware. So,
Wait a minute. Did you get married like at the Elvis Chapel or?
I wanted to. Michelle wouldn't let me.
So, okay, wait. So I did not realize, I feel like I kind of knew that, Shaun, but we actually have that in common, and I'm not sure whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. So we both got married at industry conferences. Mine was not at AU. Mine was at a different, I used to do a lot of work for the Ironworkers Union, and they would have this big conference in the middle of the winter somewhere on a tropical island on a beach. And so my wife and I got married one year, 2005, on the beach at the Ironworkers Conference. And Shaun, you got married at the Autodesk Conference.
Yeah. It's when, funnily enough, I had a conversation before we flew out to AU. This is when Lynn Allen worked for Autodesk. And I intimated to Lynn, we're getting married a couple of days before the conference. She was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing," kind of thing. And she said, "Send me some pictures." So I sent her a couple of pictures. We got married out at an amazing place called the Valley of Fire, which is just north of Vegas, out in all the sandstone. It looks like Mars. So that's where we got married. We had a lovely time. We didn't tell anybody at home. We literally eloped, basically. It was great. But yeah, so that happened, and I sent Lynn a couple of pictures saying, yeah, it went really well, and so on. And at the AU party that year, we had the hackathons on the great big screens hanging from the ceiling. So next thing I know, there's all our wedding pictures up at the AU party,
nice,
hanging on the screens. And Lynn dragged us up on stage, interviewed us, and then we had our own little table with our own little wine waiter and stuff to celebrate.
Nice. Nice.
It was funny. It was funny.
Wow. So that is the true testament to the fact that you are completely passionate and woven into, talk about weaving into the fabric of your particular industries. Beams and Columns podcast, very aptly named. Both of you got married to the industry conference. I don't know what the odds are of that, but I'm not sure whether,
dedication.
I'm not sure whether to say I'm impressed or frightened. I don't know.
I think it's a little bit, it's frightening. We'll go with frightened.
Yeah, apologies. My camera's gone a bit blurry for some weird reason. Don't know why.
That's all right. We're gonna go to Janice anyway. So we're getting questions about, when is AU, and what is it, and that kind of thing. Janice, I mean, AU is a huge, it's a big conference, right? I mean, it's not just big in terms of attendees, but you've got just, how many speakers are there? How many sessions are there? It's a lot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So for those asking, the best place to go is the Autodesk University website. So you can literally go right to autodesk.com/Autodesk University. And so there you go. So you've got the event page up right there. And so it's November 13th through 15th. It's back in Las Vegas this year. And we have predicted is going to be about 10,000 plus in-person attendees. We have over 600 learning sessions.
Wow.
And that includes classroom learning. It includes technical, like hands-on labs. It includes case studies and lectures. It also includes interactive formats such as round tables where you're solving a problem together. And there's many more activities I can talk about as well. It is 3 days this year. Some days it's 4. It used to be 5 way back in the day, but it is 3. We've got it consolidated and concise. And myself, before I realized we kind of jumped into AU speakers. So what I do is I manage the AU community experiences, not just for AU, but it's for our global flagship events at Autodesk. And so part of that being community is our speaker community and our mentor community. So I'd like to talk about mentors next as well, of which Shaun is one. And so back to the conference itself, of how I'm involved with the speakers and the mentors and all of this. Autodesk University is AU. You'll hear it referred to as AU 2023. It really is, as Jim, both you and Shaun have said, it is the Design and Make conference. It is the premier conference. AU, we've been at the heart of design and make industries for ages, for eons, right? It goes way before 2008 when Shaun got married. So this conference brings together innovators in architecture, engineering, construction, product design, manufacturing, media and entertainment. And there's even educators who attend. So this is where you'll find folks, they come together. It's really all about sharing ideas, sharing industry practices, exploring opportunities together for the future. It really is for those who design and make anything. So make anything is our tagline that you'll see. And the way we think about it is the way we design and make has really always been connected by purpose, right? So now we can connect the people, the processes, and the data too, all coming together at AU. So think of AU as, this is the conference where you can learn how to put the possibilities of Autodesk's, specifically Autodesk Design and Make platform, to work. And in addition to over the 600 learning sessions, speakers, we're probably topping 1,000 now, because it's not just primary speakers. There are co-speakers, there are panelists. We have speakers not just in the classroom sessions. There's theater talks, which are kind of short, almost think of it as a TED talk, short, innovative, real high level things that get you really, really motivated and inspired. We've got our main stage. We've got our industry forums. So each of the industries break down into very specific main stage presentations. And you'll hear the overarching themes are really all about adapting to change and driving transformation in the industry, increasing sustainability to improve impact, and then, of course, harnessing the power of Autodesk Design and Make platforms. So all of that, in addition to the learning, there's a whole bunch of community activities. That's where I come in. That's my role as community experiences manager, to help you connect with and find your people. So AU is great for learning, but the other big thing is connecting. You will make connections here that you can make nowhere else, and you can make them face to face. That's what's so important about this. Now, we do have a digital component to AU as well. So there's a digital experience, and we'll also offer opportunities to connect digitally. But as we know, that you can't beat that face to face, right? Running into somebody in the hall and saying, "Hey, I haven't seen you for 10 years or whatnot." So that's really what AU is all about.
Nice. Well, and I wanted to point out too. Let me throw these up here. It's not a. I mean, obviously, Autodesk is a software company, but it's not just a software conference, right? So, I mean, my topic is the future of the construction workforce. Shaun, I think I've got. Shaun is speaking on how do you learn, as well as Shaun is kind of Mr. AutoCAD. So we've got his AutoCAD class in here, but how do you learn and the future of the construction workforce? And I don't know if you haven't been to AU before, if people necessarily realize it's not just a software conference. There's a lot of other topics there. I typically attend. I mean, almost all the sessions I attend tend to be case studies, or one of the general contractors coming and talking about some innovation on the job site. I've sat in sessions on robotics. I've sat in sessions on personnel locating, wearing the Bluetooth tags and finding everybody on the job site. So there's really a lot of stuff there that that people may not realize, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because we've got the technical content, which there's a lot of that, including we brought back hands-on labs this year for those who have been before. And then there's the other side, is that, that's technical content. That's only half of it, right? The other half is, like you're saying, it's your own peers, your colleagues sharing workflows, sharing challenges. How did my company overcome this challenge? And then more importantly, how can you take that learning back to your company to solve the same problem? So it's all about people getting together with ideating and sharing best practices. And there's a lot of thought leadership sessions, case studies, as you mentioned. And so there's so much more than just, like, we call it, if you're here to learn the picks and clicks of the software, you can find that online. Like AU, you come to for the more in-depth, and also the why. So it's the how. You can find that online. Let's be honest. I mean, look at the day and age we live in. Everything is online. So we don't want to, I don't want to say waste your time, because it's not a waste of time, but you're not going to come and see, the fundamentals of AutoCAD. Here's how to use the UI. Like, no, that's not going to happen, because that you can see online. In fact, Autodesk, even the product pages, we've got so much learning on Autodesk.com and our Autodesk University site itself.
I need to go and take my LinkedIn learning courses, Janice. They're all about that too.
There you go. Yes. So the LinkedIn learning course.
There's the blatant self-promotion there, but I just thought
the blatant self-promotion from Shaun Bryant. And so just exactly like that. Go to LinkedIn Learning for those types of things. Also note that while we're talking about the classes and learning sessions, all the classes we do record and we make them available on the AU website after the conference. So a lot of folks say, "Oh, I'm at the conference. There's 5 sessions I want to go to." Hey, that's cool. We're glad we have that much content. You can watch the recordings after the conference then. So you enroll in one and then watch the recordings after the conference. So there's a couple of formats that don't record, like say a roundtable. It's not exactly the format for learning afterwards, but most, I'd say about maybe 80% of the class content we record and put online. So there's also that aspect of, it's really, AU is just one punctuation in year-round learning. Like at Autodesk, again, I don't work just on AU. I work on several different events, and It's all about where can you go to find the content you need, but also to connect with the right people. So AU, you get to do that in person, but we want folks to realize that on the AU website and at Autodesk, we actually have a very robust environment and platform for connecting year round, including learning new things, hosting webinars, just like this podcast, there's guesting, having me guest on. We'll have Shaun guest on one. We'll have Jim guest on one. So yeah, engage with us. It's autodesk.com, and you can go straight to the Autodesk event site from there. So what is the shortened? Conferences.autodesk.com.
Yeah.
Conferences.autodesk.com. So that goes, I think right now we'll take you to the AU event page, and then that just flows on and on as we change and learn throughout the year.
So as Janice mentioned, the Autodesk University webpage isn't just where you go to sign up for the conference. This is something that I've learned over the years, obviously being a speaker for a while. And what I love about it is somebody might sort of catch up with me, say at AU this year, and go, "Oh, I attended your class 10 years ago, and I really enjoyed the content from that class. Do you know where I can find perhaps the slide deck or the handout from that?" All of that is also stored on the AU website. It's encyclopedic. That's the only way I can describe it. I can go back and look at all my handouts from 2006, and I suddenly realized that is like 17 years ago now. And I'm like, I wrote that. That's about a third of my lifetime, back. And I suddenly thought to myself, the power of this is as a learning resource is something else, because as Janice quite rightly said, Autodesk University is not where you go to learn how to draw a line in AutoCAD. That's not what it's all about. It is a tool whereby you're going to learn the latest workflows, the tips and tricks is something that I always, kind of bring into a lot of my classes. It's like, did you know you can do this quicker if you do this? And I had one of my favorite sort of experiences of that at AU was I had a really seasoned AutoCAD user come up to me and he said, "I've been using AutoCAD for 25 years and I did not know I could do that." And when he walked away, he said, "I'm probably now going to be 50% faster at work because I know this particular function does this."
Well, and I gotta put this up. So speaking of AutoCAD tips and tricks, right? So every time I look at your, you got AutoCAD tips and tricks updated one day ago. I'm trying to click on this because I want to see the table of contents. How many episodes of AutoCAD tips and tricks do you have on LinkedIn Learning?
Bear with me. I'm going to jump onto my other machine and I will let you know, because I've just finished recording the last back.
It doesn't. Well, are these actually numbered? Is this right?
They are numbered. Yeah, and I'm just about to quickly jump.
341.
It's something like that.
Yeah, 341. So yeah, you've got to find some stuff if you've got 342. I'm sorry, new this week.
We have just recorded the 359th tip and trick last week.
Wow.
So they're all in there. Some of them I have repeated. I will hasten to add there is some repetition in there, because what happens is you can do something a little bit quicker with, say, a newer version of AutoCAD as compared to an older version of AutoCAD. But 342 is, as you can see, that's new this week. So that's working with the tools on the text ribbon panel. So, and they're little things. They're just little tips that you might have a panel on the AutoCAD ribbon that you've never used before. And you think, okay, well, what do they do? And I'll probably mention something like that. One of the ones that a lot of people don't use is the layers panel on the ribbon. There's loads of little tools in there that, if you're working with thousands of layers on a drawing, will make your life 200 times easier. And that was, in fact, I remember now, that was what the guy way back said to me about being 50% quicker. He didn't realize that all these tools were available on that layers panel on the ribbon. But that's what I love about AU. Janice summed it up as well. It's meeting the people that give you that information. One of the things I love about AU, and I mean, I've made so many lifelong friends from people that I've bumped into at AU, and those people still stay in touch now. Um, I have a fantastic working relationship with Autodesk, with Janice and the AU team, and lots of other people. I work in the Autodesk community. I'm an Autodesk expert elite as well, also an Autodesk certified instructor. So I kind of work with lots of different aspects of the Autodesk ecosystem. But for me, Autodesk University is not just where I go to learn. It is also where I go to talk to people in the industry that add value to what I do in the industry. That's where it's really important. So I might have a simple off the cuff conversation with somebody, and it then suddenly allows me to think I can do a LinkedIn learning course on that. And that's kind of how that's how the ecosystem works. It's very, very thanks for that.
Mr. AutoCAD.
Oh, we need to go to Janice and myself talking to Mr. AutoCAD. Janice's nickname for me is UKRG,
Yes.
and there's a reason for this. My kids a few years back introduced me to a fantastic Ricky Gervais TV program called Afterlife on Netflix. And basically, Ricky Gervais's character in that, my kids keep going, "That's you, Dad. That is you," like this. And a lot of people, I've had people mistake me in Vegas, strange enough, for Ricky Gervais as well. So I often joke now in my AU classes that I'm Ricky Gervais's stunt double. And Janice and myself, I can't remember which AU it was, but you took a picture of us standing outside the AU hub in Vegas doing the little selfie thing. She sent it to her other half and said, "Look, I bumped into Ricky Gervais." And the response back from Janice's husband was fantastic. "That's not Ricky Gervais. He's got a gap at the front in his teeth."
It was AU 2019. I remember
wasn't it? Yeah.
I remember it, and I was like, I'm gonna see what I can pull one over on my husband. And he was just the problem is we're such big fans of the stuff that that he does. Is like he got it right away. I'm like, no, it's really him. He's on vacation.
But yeah, so and that's the other thing that I think AU has that a lot of conferences don't have. It's human. It has a bit of humor there. That's what I love about AU as well. There is this, I don't know what it is about the 10,000 or so people that turn up at AU, but there's this amazing humor level, this humor understanding that everybody gets. And it's a somewhat geeky sense of humor, if you see what I mean. If any of you have watched, things like Third Rock from the Sun, Big Bang Theory, those kind of shows, it's that kind of humor. And what I love about it is you're bumping into all your friends, your colleagues. It's a great leveler at you, and everybody's together. I mean, I can remember at one expert elite meeting, we have a thing called the town hall event, the expert elites, and people that attend that are the corporate level management. And I can remember standing for the group photo. I've got Andrew Anagnos behind me doing bunny's ears behind me, waiting for the group photo to be taken. That's Andrew obviously being CEO of Autodesk, for those of you that don't know. That's the level it's at, where everybody is there together as one to make things work and make things better. And that for me is what AU is all about. It's having that camaraderie, that conversation, that talking to your peers, finding out pain points so that you can share them together and work through them. And talking at AU is basically the bonus bit for me, I think. Really,
yeah, it really, I'm so happy you're telling your own experience about that, because we joke, we say us that are in Autodesk as a company, we say it's our annual family reunion. Yeah. Because this is where, especially because I work so much with our speakers and our speaker mentors, you see these folks. There's a place called the Speaker Ready Room that if you're a speaker at AU or a co-speaker or panelist, you can come and practice and, have some quiet time. And so a lot of us in the speaker management team will be in that room. And as people come in, it's just like you try to keep quiet, but you're like, hey, like hugs. And it's so great to see you, because this is the place that sometimes I only see people once a year. But what's so amazing is exactly what Shaun said is as soon as you connect, it's like wasn't it just yesterday that we were at AU 2022? It's the energy, and people that haven't been there or say, oh, it's not worth going, it's like you're not understanding what the essence of AU is, because what's so worthwhile is, of course, the learning, but what's even beyond that is coming together to talk about these challenges, these innovations, together. And there's a real connection that's not just, as Shaun said, it's not just the software, right? This is not a software conference. It's the design and make conference, yes, but kind of even the bigger picture is it's the connection conference. And so we offer all these different ways for folks to connect, to find your people. We've got the mobile app. I'm holding an invisible phone right now. I don't know why. But the mobile app will come out. That releases, I think, next. It might be that. Don't quote me on that, but closer to the event. I won't say a month. I'll say closer to the event. Again, the event is November 13th through 15th. But the mobile app will come out, and you can even connect with people who are signed up in the app. You can connect with them through the app. And then we also have activities where you can find your people. We have a format called meetups. And meetups are not classes, they're not learning sessions, but they are literally to help you find your people. For example, I know I'm just going to pull out, there's 30 of them. You can go to the class catalog. So once again, let's plug autodeskuniversity.com. It's that simple. You don't have to worry about any of the other URLs we've been talking about. Just autodeskuniversity.com will get you to the AU site, and then you can click on Explore Now, which is then it'll take you to the event site, the conference site. So autodeskuniversity.com, and there you'll see, you can search for meetups in the catalog, and it's different segments of people. So you'll have a meetup, say, I love one of the real directed ones is on water. It's on the water industry. Like that's a very specific segment of people. But how else would you find, hey, where are my water people? So my infrastructure people, specifically in water, you can go then sign up for that meetup. And meetups are a social gathering. So it's not, necessarily, no one's lecturing at you, but it's going to be social. And then that way you're speaking with different people. Are you filtering through? Go to, it's the type. If you type meetup, you can also click on community. If you're in the catalog right now, as you're searching there, there is, format, click on meetup. So if you want to find your meetups, what I'm talking about, go down your filters, go down to the format filter. You passed it.
Up a bit.
Go back up. You passed it. Go back up.
Right there.
Center. There you go. Click on meetups there. There we are, meetup. And you'll see these 30 meetups. And you can see, so there's one for BIM managers. There's one for design and manufacturing. Like some of them are broader. Some of them are, there's one, future resiliency, finding the right talent. Like that's something that's very important to companies, right? That has nothing to do with software itself, but you want to find the right talent for your company. So there's all these different social activities as well. There's a place called the Community Zone. So we're programming the Community Zone right now, which is another place you can go and gather. You can simply just go charge your phone or your laptop, check your email. But then we have some programmed spaces in the Community Zone as well, including, if you haven't been to AU, the most popular, let's call it what it is. Everyone loves general session and all the hoopla and hands-on labs. Let's call it what it is. The dog park is everyone's favorite location at AU. We have a local rescue in Las Vegas who comes in and they bring in therapy dogs. And in the Community Zone, you can go and you can hang out with a pup. And the puppies are all adoptable.
And listen, if you don't like real dogs, right? We got robot dogs.
Oh, yes. I remember it well.
Yes. Spot from Boston Dynamics.
Yes, yeah. This is in our I don't know what it was, Shaun, our blogger meetup or something that we did at AU.
Blogger social quite a few years back now.
Yes,
probably about 2019, 2018. What you've got there is Spot the Dog from Boston Dynamics, the robotics company, but you've also got the LiDAR scanner attached to the top of
Right.
it. And
Right.
it's something that Jim and myself talk about quite a lot with all the photogrammetry, the reality capture, the LiDAR scanning, and so on. And you can basically send Spot the dog into a building and it'll go up and down all the different levels, saving a human having to do it. And from a safety and a health and all that kind of perspective, you know, if it's a condemned building and you need to survey it, you send Spot the dog in with his LiDAR scanner. And I have to say that was having, I'd always seen them on TV and on the internet. Having bumped into one of those robots in real life is a little bit of a freaky moment. You suddenly, I kind of looked down and I thought, yeah, okay, this is all a little bit. And the weirdest thing though was I was watching a TV show quite a few years later, which is on, I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's a remake of War of the Worlds with a very famous Irish actor called Gabriel Byrne is in it. And the aliens that land on Earth in that War of the Worlds are basically sort of tanked up Spot the dogs with some rather nasty weaponry killing off the human race. So, you know, it was kind of like, whoa, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I mean, that's the sort of stuff you get to see at AU. You get to see it's not just all about the Autodesk software. It's about everything around that, the ecosystem, all this. I mean, if you go out onto the exhibition floor at AU at any time, you've got everybody there, not just the software companies, but you've got people like, you know, I don't know if Boston Dynamics are attending this year or not. I don't know. I'm sure they probably are. But you've got that level of technology where you can actually get your hands on stuff and mess around with stuff that you might not normally experience. And that again is another little kind of light bulb moment for people because they'll see a piece of technology and go, that integrates with my Autodesk software and does that. That's going to make me 75% more efficient doing that, which means I'm going to save money on the bottom line.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up too, because we've talked about learning, content session, classes, all that. We've talked about community and finding your people. You've now hit on another part of AU, which is the expo hall, right? So in the expo hall, it's not just vendors, right, trying to sell you something. Now they do have, of course, vendors there because they're telling you, hey, here's our solutions. This is how we can make life better. But there's also all these cool activations of how different companies are using Autodesk software to make their communities better, you know, to get water to rural places in underdeveloped country, like all of this, you know, meet Spot the dog with Boston Dynamics. It's just, you never know what you're going to encounter. And every year, the hall changes. It changes based on projects, on innovation. This year, of course, it's very focused on design and make. And so it's also a place to really explore it's an ever-growing ecosystem of Autodesk service partners, but then it's more than that. It's about solution providers offering innovative ways to transform your business. Sometimes you just get something cool and you go look at, you know, a Spot the dog. So the expo is also a very important part of AU where you can connect with the professionals that are actually in it and performing these projects. And then you'll look at certain exhibits that Autodesk partners put on. And I know they're still putting the finishing touches on that about who, so I can't talk about who actually will be there. But if you go to autodeskuniversity.com, as soon as they announce who will be there, they'll do like speaker features and you know, things like that you'll actually be able to see before you go who's going to be there and what kind of cool things you can interact with. So it really is all about the learning, the connecting, the being inspired and building your community. And then let's not forget, advance your career. A lot of us, you know, are looking for ways to advance the career we're in right now. Or maybe we're looking for, hey, what's that next thing out there that I want to jump to? That's another important aspect of AU is the people you meet there can so easily become your next career path or talk to you about something you may want to do, or within your own company, you know, may say, hey, I talked to this person, they did that sounds close to my role, but I'd like to expand in this manner, something like that, right? So it's just AU, it's so much more than a conference. It really is an experience. It really is. I just wish more people could experience it in person, because that's where the magic really happens.
It's true that I
Yeah.
agree with Janice on that one completely. It is so much more than a conference, and it's one of those events that, you know. But I mean, I still can't believe it's my 17th AU this year. I don't know where that went, but it's one of those things that every year I look forward to it. It's not something that I think, oh no, I've got to go to AU again. And that's not just because it's in
Right.
Vegas. Yeah, you know, after 17 years of Vegas and 1 year of New Orleans, you know, I'm kind of partied out. I don't tend to do the parties, the after parties, or anything like that anymore. But it is an experience. The virtual side of it, when we went through the pandemic, obviously was okay as well. We were able to organize different Zoom rooms and all that kind of thing to
Yep.
connect. But I don't care what anybody says. I still believe that people learn from people, and it is the way we are genetically made. We learn. It's like I learned from my parents to do certain things. My kids have learned from me to do certain things, and so on. But learning is not just about going into a classroom or a class or an AU session and learning something and coming out of it. It's how you apply it. It's how you apply the knowledge that's really important. And that's what AU does. It teaches you how to apply the knowledge. There are, as Janice quite rightly said, there's technical talks, you know, case studies, roundtables, all that kind of thing. I was really lucky to host a panel at AU last year.
Nice.
And I will be totally honest. I mean, I had a group of people that I've known for decades up on stage anyway, and I was just doing the microphone thing mainly for them. But it was one of the most fun events I've had at AU in the 17 years,
Awesome.
purely because, again, we had that fantastic humor. And if you ever get the chance to check it out, it was called Showdown at the AU Corral, and
Yep.
it was basically contractors versus engineers versus architects, all about how we get a project off the ground. So Jim knows all about this. He knows that there's a certain relationship between the general contractor, the architect, the structural guy, and so on. And there was one. If you get the chance, go and look at the recording of it and check out this one slide in that whole hour that just made the whole event for me. And it was a last minute edition. Matt Stacconi put it in at about 11 p.m. the night before, and it literally brought the roof down. And it starts with a picture of Clint Eastwood and ends up at the bottom of the slide with a picture of Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants. And the explanation between each of the characters going through this slide, if you're in our industry, especially AEC, Jim will get it, you know, especially from the general contractor downwards to the building owner. It's just one of those moments that for me it makes AU for me, and it epitomizes AU as well, because it's all about that experience, because I'll always remember that moment, but it taught me exactly all the different relationships between all the different people, as Jim will verify, working in construction, between those people on site and getting that building built and handing it over to the owner. And we had a great conversation for an hour. The audience loved it. I wish we'd won an award for it, because it would have made my AU, but we didn't. But we had everybody laughing from about minute 1 to minute 59. So as far as I'm concerned, we did what we needed to do.
Yeah, the panels are great. I like the pre-COVID. I was asked to host a panel on women in construction, and it was a great panel discussion. You know, I had 3 great women up there talking about their experiences, and you know, how men can be advocates, and you know, I think it's a really important topic. It was a fun panel to host. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the other panels and things this year. It's nice that we're back in person. I missed last year. I didn't go to New Orleans, but you know, Las Vegas is is not too far. So glad to be back in person, and glad to be back in Vegas.
Yeah, we're glad
Yeah,
to see you.
Vegas will be fun. It's going to be interesting as well because I'm a bit of a petrol head. We got Formula One kicking off the week after. We got the street race. So I joked with Michelle, my wife. I said, "Can we stay for the next week after?" And she went, "No. Have you seen how much the hotel rooms are?" And
Well,
literally,
and
AU, the hotel rooms are reasonable, and then the first day of practice for the Formula One,
right,
they go through the roof. So
and not to detract from the petrol head things, but while you're in Vegas, new this year, you can also ride Teslas in tunnels, right?
Yes,
So they have the they have the Boring Company tunnels operating now to take you between different locations, and I'm not even sure which ones are open now. I know you can get from the convention center to Resort World, and I don't. This is what I filmed earlier in the year. But anyway, sorry, you mentioned Petrolhead, and so I got to pull up the Teslas and tunnels.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's
like a
going to be an
Disneyland
interesting
ride.
one because at the end of the day, you never know. You might bump into an F1 driver wandering around your hotel complex. Things like that.
Yeah. Good point.
They're going to be there. They're going to be there a good week, maybe 10 days before, because it's a new circuit. So they'll be checking out the track and everything. So.
Yeah, and so all right. So speaking of people that are going to be there, I mean, typically at AU, we've got I don't know, 6, 8, 10 different LinkedIn Learning instructors as well. And some of them I'm not even really in touch with that much because, again, Autodesk is more than just the AEC industry. So, there's some other LinkedIn Learning instructors there that are, I don't know, Chuck Maserati, I think is animation. Have you tracked down who all's going to be there yet this year, Shaun? I have not. I don't know. I don't know which other LinkedIn Learning instructor.
I have been putting a few messages out there on LinkedIn asking questions. There's the usual crowd. Related to AEC, we got Paul Orban, Eric Wing, myself, obviously you as well. I know that in years gone by, we often had a LinkedIn presence as well, where there was a number of LinkedIn staff there as well. But no, that's one of the things as well that I think is lovely about AU is you have different ecosystems kind of coalescing a little bit, because obviously Jim and myself were very closely linked with LinkedIn, if you'll pardon the pun, and we instruct on certain things that basically the subject matter is exactly what goes on at AU as well. But it's, again, different sort of ecosystems kind of cross paths, and it's just one of those wonderful things that you'll bump into somebody that you never ever thought you'd bump into, you never ever thought you'd have a conversation with, and all of a sudden 2 years down the line, you're doing shed loads of work for them because of that initial introduction over a common topic that you got talking about. It happens like that. It really does. It's really strange. And LinkedIn has done a similar thing for my working career as well. There will be people that reach out to me, and I'll do certain things for. But one of the things that for me is really, really special which is what Janice is kind of in charge of, is the community. And that's what Autodesk University is. It's the entire community coming together to talk and learn and discuss and come up with new ideas. But the community itself has built up over so many years. I mean, I've been using AutoCAD for 35 years this year, and over time, there's this really big community of people now that obviously use AutoCAD, they use Revit, they use Inventor, and everything else. But that community has kind of come up through the ranks over the years. And what I love now is I'm seeing a lot of really young people very excited about how technology works. And this is where the design and make thing for me kicked in. I had a lovely opportunity this time last year, actually, to go to the Birmingham Autodesk hub in the UK. And that is all, design, production, manufacturing. And I was there to meet up with various Autodesk members of staff to discuss various things. But it led me into learning about what Autodesk are doing in the university technical colleges in the UK. And Autodesk have totally turned learning on its head in academia now. It's so different now, because it's not a, stick your finger up at the blackboard and scratch something on a blackboard anymore. What a lot of the teachers are doing now is they're throwing everything online, letting them, as Janice quite rightly said, learn the picks and clicks online. And then the teachers are saying, right, okay, here's your project based on what you've learned in this module, the picks and clicks you've learned. But they're also getting tangible results, because they're working with products like Fusion 360. And something like Fusion 360, you can literally hit a button, send that design to somewhere like the Birmingham Centre, the Autodesk Centre, where they've got just about every single production machine that makes things on the planet. And they'll make you a little widget that you've just designed for you, and you've physically got it in your hand.
Yeah.
And that's the design and make. But I mean, that's obviously, production, design, production. AEC is the same. I mean, Jim and me are always talking about, 3D concrete. That's just insane now. We're starting to see these companies, the only way to describe it is it's a crane with a nozzle, and it just goes round and round and round, and it just builds concrete walls. And you're not needing all these concrete pours and wasteful timber formwork and anything anymore. And again, it's design and make, and that's what, for me, AU is all about. Is you'll come away with something, and it'll be, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know I could do that, or I didn't know that this did that. And that's where, for me, it just stands out as one of the big events on my calendar every year.
Well, Shaun, Janice, we're kind of coming up on the hour, so I want to get a few final comments, but I want to put a couple up here. I wish this live talk by professionals would be reposted. So whether you're talking about this particular live stream or podcast, that lives on LinkedIn, so you can come back to this event page anytime and restream this. And then as Janice
just make a note of the, if you copy URLs at the top of the screen, make a note of the URL. I tend to just copy and paste them into a Word document or something like that, or an Excel spreadsheet. And then if you copy and paste that link, every time you click on it, it will take you back to this event page on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and then as Janice mentioned, because I'm not sure what the comment was as far as this particular podcast or the technical sessions at AU, but just to clarify that, Janice, all of the AU sessions are either recorded or pre-recorded, and they live in, like Shaun mentioned early on, this encyclopedic AU online presence, and like Shaun said, you can go back and find his content from 17 years ago.
Yes.
I don't want to see my content from 17 years ago.
Some of us would rather not, but yeah. No, you're right. The again, your key URL for that one, and maybe you can put it in the comments, is autodeskuniversity.com, and there's an online library. So yes, it's not just this year that we'll post classes, and about 80% of the classes get recorded and go up there. But you can dig back years and years. I think I know there's one from 2003. I'm not going to say how far it goes back, because I know we didn't always have the recording technology, but I think there might even be one in there from 2003. So autodeskuniversity.com will get you what you need during the event. That's where you go to see what's happening during. There's live streaming. So we're live streaming like general session, industry forums. There are also like 32 classes. There's live stream. There's an additional 20 learning classes that are available to view on demand. So if you cannot attend in person, we also have the digital experience going on. And then I would be remiss if I didn't here at the end put in a plug for, if you want to speak at AU, come teach a class. We have a very robust mentor program, of which Mr. Shaun Bryant, or UK Ricky Gervais, as we call him, where are we pointing? Oops, wait, wrong one. There we go. He is one of our illustrious mentors.
For a while, so.
We have quite a robust program. So if you're scared, like, oh, I couldn't do that. No, you can. And we have 30%, I think, new voices almost every year because we like to bring back our rock stars. And then we also like to get new voices as, you know, the companies are adapting to change and driving transformation. And I love the whole design and make connection, Shaun, you were talking about with when you meet someone, you might be doing work with them 2 years down the road, because with convergence and with data, you know, your connectivity, it's everything is now being able to just be whisked one way or another. So that convergence, that AEC and D&M, you know, for your product manufacturing, that's all starting to come together with those connected data pipelines. So yeah, come on. Hopefully you can join us in person. Register through the AU site is the other plug to give you, because as Shaun said, because of F1, that's coming after Vegas. So or after Vegas, after AU. So AU is November 13th through the 15th. Register through the AU site, autodeskuniversity.com, because that will get you what we call the normal, the package hotel rates, where you're not paying, you know, thousands of dollars. So don't be afraid by that. We have package rates. Just make sure you register through the AU site to get the room packages. If you register through, you know, your own, you're going to see probably super expensive. So that's another quick point to make, is that it doesn't have to cost you everything.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
It's that's one of the great things that Autodesk do actually, is if you register through the AU website, they will look after you because it's all encompassing. So there'll be an Autodesk rate for your rooms. I can't remember which hotels it is, Janice. There's about 6, isn't there, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, they block out hotels all surrounding the conference. Yeah.
So you'll get a room at a good rate rather than an extortionate rate. I was joking earlier because obviously I'd love to stay for the F1, but I think we've got a road trip planned actually. I think we're jumping out of Vegas and getting in the car and going and checking out some places further north. So we'll see what happens. So
good plan.
Very good. And I see Chris Randall had some remind us of the date. We did that November 13th through 15th. I didn't realize you were on here, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully Chris will be at Autodesk University as well, another LinkedIn learning instructor. Chris and I kind of do the construction side of things, and Chris does a lot of the estimating and HVAC mechanical construction drawings and that kind of thing. So point that out. Now, Shaun, I'm sorry, I have to put this up here because you and I at the pre-show here, we were talking about the random people that jump in to to some of these live streams. And
yes,
I do
we were talking about office hours and things.
Yeah, every Friday I started doing this office hours, ask me anything kind of format, but it's kind of like doing a live call-in radio show, except the controls on LinkedIn don't let you have a producer, so you can't pre-screen the calls, and you get you get these random questions that you sometimes can't answer. And we don't quite have that same thing on the live stream, but I don't know if if the two of you are looking at like the comments that come in. But I love you all. Please get all your money out of the market. Buy gold, silver, and a bunker in New Zealand. Here come the 4 financial horsemen. Watch your face. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start.
Eyebrows did go up slightly when I saw that one.
We're gonna start doing that feature like every beams and columns. We're gonna have the most random comment in there. So I don't know that anybody's going to top that one, but oh well, I don't know if you were Chris says he's going to try and top it. I think he says he's going to try to come to AU, not try and top it.
Chris is rising to the challenge of topping it, I think.
Well, Janice, I really appreciate you joining us, and I will see you again soon. Maybe virtually, but definitely November 13th at AU in the speaker ready room.
Absolutely.
Shaun, any final words?
Well, for me, if you haven't experienced AU before, and you are going this year and it's your first AU, I will give you 3 things that you need. 1, comfortable shoes. You will do one hell of a lot of walking. You will definitely do more than your 10,000 steps every day.
Good point.
Second one is lip balm. You're in the middle of the desert. And the third one is lots and lots of water. One of the first things I do when I get to AU in Vegas especially, there's a Walgreens next door. I go and buy a great big crate of bottled water and leave it in my room. And I'm normally finding I get through 2 or 3 bottles of that a day. And that's on top of the water that you get around the exhibition, around the classes, and so on.
Yes,
And
we have many
it's
water coolers.
At the Venetian, by the way, right?
Yeah,
At the
it's the exhibition complex that sort of sits between the Venetian and the Palazzo.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
where it'll be this year.
I don't think we mentioned that, so that's important.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so it's at the Sam's Convention Center,
the
but basically
Sands,
we just say the Venetian because that's where the convention center is located. That's a great detail. So November 13th through 15th.
Vegas is quite big.
The Venetian. You got it. I'm so honored that I'm guesting here on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Love talking about AU, and I really hope that I will see. Well, I know I'll see both of you there, and I really hope that folks watching this, I hope that we'll see you there. And if you do, come say hello. I'm not too hard to miss. I got the little gray hair, and I'm a little bit loud, and I'm usually wearing logos of some sort. So say hello. I'd love to meet you.
All right, we will see you there.
Thank you ever so much, Janice.
Awesome.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you in
And
November.
we will see everybody back on this show next month. And Janice, we'll see you in November.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers now. Bye now.